we have in the Oval Office right now. So great job, sir.
Thank you very much, JB and Marco. And then we're going to ask the two principals to speak.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, first of all, thank you. When I first came on this job a few months ago, you made it very clear that the priority of this administration under your leadership was going to be the pursuit of peace. And from day one, whether it's been in Ukraine and Russia, whether it's been Pakistan, India, whether it's been Iran and Israel, and in the continent of Africa, your priority's been on peace. And today we see this come to fruition. It's sad. Wars get a lot more attention than peace. But peace is harder than war, a lot harder. And I want to congratulate both of the leaders here and their respective presidents for choosing the harder path, which is often peace, than the easier path, which sometimes is war, as costly and as bloody as it may be. And I echo the Vice President's statements, and that is that Americans should be very proud that the #1 voice for peace in the world today is our president, your president. And so thank you, President Trump. And I want to, again, recognize Dr. Boulos and the work he's put into this from day one. He's really put a lot of time and effort, and as our friends from the respective countries can share with us. And last point, I do want to thank, you've done this already, but the African Union, Togo, and Qatar, who have been extraordinary partners and whose help we're going to need to continue to receive in order to bring all this to fruition. So congratulations to both of you, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Great job you've done. You want to start? Either way. Would you like to start?
Ladies first, maybe.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, for having us here. I think I can summarize my contribution in 3 main points. First of all, thank you and congratulations indeed for this remarkable milestone, which is putting an end to 30 years of conflict and of suffering, and which is redefining the perspectives that millions of Congolese and of citizens of the greater Great Lakes region will have. The second point is stay committed, stay on board. We need the United States to make sure that this agreement holds and that you hold us accountable. And the third point is, if you stay on board, I think there are so many perspectives that we can transform our partnerships through, and that can usher in an era of prosperity, of growth, and of shared bilateral relationships that go well beyond the challenges that we've shared together, and that can at least, or finally, focus on the potential and of the wealth that we can share. So again, our heartfelt gratitude to you on my behalf, but more importantly, on behalf of the people of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Thank you so much.
Beautifully spoken, and I look forward to seeing your leader. They will, highly respected person, as you know.
Indeed.
Highly respected all over the world, but in Africa in particular. So sometime in July, we'll do something, big ceremony.
We look forward to it.
Thank you very
so
much. Please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is indeed a historical day because it's the signing of a peace agreement between Congo and Rwanda to end a conflict that has been going on for 30 years. And there has been many mediation, facilitation in the past, but none of them succeeded. And we believe that it's because of your leadership and your steadfast commitment to this process, with also a new approach of economic integration, regional economic integration, which is important to allow Rwanda and DRC working together, because this is a very rich region with cross-border trade, with minerals, with natural wealth. So with the US standing side by side with Rwanda and DRC, we believe that we will achieve a long-time peace. And we also believe that, as my colleague from DRC stated, it's important for the United States to stay committed, because today we signed, but now we need to implement what we have signed in order to open this new era you were talking about of prosperity, so that we can reap the economic dividend of peace. So for this economic integration framework to be implemented, it's important for the US to accompany the parties to implement what we have signed, because in the past we have signed so many agreements that were not implemented. And we are really, we believe that with your leadership, with the involvement of the United States administration, we will reach that goal. So thank you very much, Mr. President.
Well, this will happen, definitely. I can reach over. Do you want to just press them over to me? Let me have them. And I just wanted to give you each. These are your signed agreements. And we'll make sure that you follow through. We'll make sure you follow through.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that you follow through. Okay, that's for you. And we have one other thing that we're going to give, that we give to special people only. It's a coin,
Thank you.
and I hope you do that. I'm going to give you a second one for your leader.
Oh, cool. Thank you very much.
And likewise, we'll do that. These are serious coins. You don't want to lose them. You'll be very. I think that your reporter from Africa should get one. What do you think? Is she allowed?
I saw it.
I think
I can
yes. Are the reporters okay with it? Brian, yes? Darling, that's for you. Okay? You did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
And I
Mr.
heard you
President.
do a great job in covering everything. Thank you.
And Mr. President, we actually have the pictures that you took earlier.
Oh, let me
Foreign
see that.
ministers here already.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you.
Let me see that.
They're in this folder right here.
Okay, this one?
Yes, sir.
Oh, they look better than me. I don't like it. I don't like it. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. We have a good photographer. Beautiful. That's great. You better, I'll tell you better do the job here. We're going to come down hard. It's beautiful. Thank you very much. So we'll put them in. That's for you.
I can do that.
That's for you. What is it? For the group. Yes. Let's see, do we have two of them? I think so. You wouldn't give us one, you would have made a big mistake. Isn't that nice? That's for you. That's for you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. And you're all set, and this is for you. You're going to
Yes,
get this? Good. Might as well hold it.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Yes, sir. On the subject, sir.
Not Canada. This is about Canada.
Why not? Why not Canada, by the way?
Why?
I mean,
Because this is about a different subject right now. This is right now actually a much more important subject. We just ended a war that was going on for 30 years where 6 million people died. So don't ask me a trade question on Canada.
Mr. President, Kara Castronova from Lindell TV. Now that your administration, and congratulations, has secured peace in Africa to a bloody, horrific war that's gone on for decades and no other president could do it, do you think the mainstream media will finally...
No other, I'm telling you. No other, but you're right. No other president could do it. They tried, and they didn't even try. I don't think.
tried hard.
I actually don't think they tried. Do you think Biden tried? He didn't know he was alive.
Do you think the
Go
mainstream
ahead.
media will finally give you credit where credit is due?
No, the media will never give me credit. But the people give me credit. That's why I'm here. People didn't give me. That's why we're here in a landslide. We got all 7 states. We won the popular vote. So the media won't give me credit, but the people give me credit. That's more important to me.
You're going to go down as a peacemaker. You're also going to go down with the president who had 0 border crossings in May. You secured the border more close than anybody's ever done. But I don't know if you know this. You're on track right now to have the lowest murder rate in history in this country. And I think a lot largely go to the fact we closed down the border. Do you want to comment on that? You might go down as the lowest murder rate in U.S. history.
Yeah, I saw that the other day, and it's an honor. I mean, and that's really even better because, we've taken a lot of illegals into the country through the Biden administration that are murderers, 11,888 to be exact. And many of them are now gone. We got rid of them. They're back where they belong. But so it's a great honor. If you took that out, the numbers would be even better. They've created a lot of problems.
You Truth Social earlier about getting money to the air traffic controllers and the big, beautiful bill, which hopefully, praise God, if we get this thing signed. What does that mean to that industry that have been suffering the last couple of years, quite a decade of being underfunding? How that takes the safety of air traffic?
Well, they've underfunded the airports for years, and I started the process of getting it completed in terms of the equipment necessary to land the planes, where the planes, like the helicopter accident with the plane, would have never happened if they had the right modern equipment. It would have been bells and whistles would have been going on all over the place. And I had that all set, but when I wasn't here, they totally dropped it. You had a terrible head of transportation. We have a very good one now, Sean Duffy. But you had Buttigieg, and he didn't know a damn thing. He'd ride to work on his bicycle. He didn't know what the hell was going on. He was terrible. So he totally dropped that. It was a project that should have happened, and I was all set. but we had a very sad experience with the voting, and so we didn't get to do that. But now I'm doing it, and we're going to have a great system, and it's funded partially by the bill. It's the initial funding is by the bill, and then it gets to be funded. The rest of it comes a little bit later as we build it out. But we're going to build out the best in the world. We have the best companies in the world. A couple of countries have very good systems. In fact, I noticed when I was landing, my pilot often would use the system of another country, and I said, "What are you doing that for?" He said, "The United States system is so bad." So we have the best companies that do that in the world bidding. You have Raytheon, you have IBM, you have a lot of different companies bidding, and we'll get the best one, the best system for the best price. And they're going to go to town and give us a system that will be better than any other system in the world. And you won't have planes bunking into each other at 35,000 feet.
Mr. President, on the subject of peace deals,
Yeah.
how close are you and your administration to a deal in terms of
Often asked, and I think it's close. I just spoke with some of the people involved. It's a terrible situation that's going Gaza, he's asking about. And we think within the next week we're going to get a ceasefire. And we're supplying, as you know, a lot of money and a lot of food to that area because we have to, you have to, in theory, not involved in it, but we're involved because people are dying. And I look at those crowds of people that have no food, no anything, and, we're the ones that are getting it there. Some of it's being taken by some bad people, once you give it and you give it out, and they're supposed to be taking care of the people, and they end up stealing the food and selling it. But we have a pretty good system now. But so we're helping with that. You see the lines of people that just get one meal essentially. But it's too bad other countries aren't helping out. Nobody's helping out. We're doing that because I think we have to on a humanitarian basis. Like this, we didn't have to get involved in Africa, but we did because we thought it was. I've been reading, like JD said, he's from much of his life, he's been just seeing this about this brutal war, and it actually got a lot of publicity because of the level of brutality. Right? It was nobody's ever seen anything like it, and to be involved in that, I consider this the most important of my conferences today. We just had a great Supreme Court victory today, and everybody would say that was big, but we're talking about saving thousands and probably millions of lives here. This is more important than anything. So it's great, but we're working on Gaza, trying to get it taken care of. And again, a lot of food has been sent there. And other countries throughout the world should be helping also.
And on another conflict that I know you've been working on, sir, is it true that you have reached out with a letter to North Korea's Kim Jong-un?
Well, if there is a conflict, I get along with him very, very well. And we'll get the conflict solved with North Korea. I've had a good relationship with Kim Jong-un, and I've gotten along with him really great. So we'll see what happens. But somebody's saying there's a potential conflict. I think we'll work it out if there is. It wouldn't involve us. But again, we're very far away from a lot of these places that we're solving problems with. But I enjoy doing it. I like doing it, and it's the right thing to do. And we have an ability to get it done. So we're solving things that we didn't have a lot to do with Serbia, Kosovo. I told you, we solved a potential disaster. I can tell you that some of the countries that you're not going to hear about, but some countries that were ready to go to war with their neighbor are not going to go to war with their neighbor, and that's a great thing. We have a number of them. But I'm very happy about India and Pakistan because they actually have nuclear weapons. When you talk about Iran, they were trying to get it, but India has nuclear weapons. Pakistan has nuclear weapons, high-level nuclear weapons both, and getting that solved was really great. We did it through trade, so it was a great thing.
Mr. President, when it comes to nuclear weapons, Mr. President, are you concerned that the Iranians may have some enriched uranium at Pickaxe Mountain?
No. The last thing they're thinking about right now is enriched uranium. They're not thinking about what they want to do is they want to get back to life, and they do want to meet me, and we'll do that quickly. We're going to do it quickly. We'll have a meeting soon.
That they don't want to meet
telling
Well,
you
they
something
may-
different in private?
They may say that to you. Don't you think they want to meet me? Don't you think we have sanctions on there that they can't do anything? Wouldn't you think that they want to meet me? I mean, they're not stupid people, but they went through a lot, and they suffered, and so did Israel. Israel suffered greatly. It was a nasty 12 days, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Are you considering sending Patriot missiles to Ukraine? Have you made up your mind about that yet?
I may. Go ahead.
On this context, Mr. President, there are a few unanswered questions that remain in this deal. For example, will
This
Rwandan, on this deal,
Yeah.
on this conflict, for example, will Rwandan troops pull back from parts of the DR Congo, and also will the M23 rebel group be allowed to remain in parts of eastern? Do you have any answer to those
Well, let me
questions?
ask you that question. You want to answer that one? It sounds like an interesting question for you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. In the agreement we signed, we have taken the concept of operation for the neutralization of the FDLR, which is a vicious genocidal movement, and the lifting of Rwandan defensive measures. So this was already signed last year in November, so we will implement it. This concept of operation to do both things, to neutralize this movement, which has been destabilizing Rwanda for many years, and to lift our defensive measures. As for the M23, in the agreement also, we have decided to rely on the Doha talks, because there are currently talks between the AFC M23 and the DRC government to have a peace deal also that will complement the Washington peace agreement. So both things are taken care of.
Thank you. Mr. President, will the United States be enforcing this agreement?
Well, we're going to be working with them to get it enforced. They can enforce their own agreement, but we'll be putting a lot of pressure on to make sure it gets enforced. The two people in this room are very, very capable people, and they'll get it done. I think they'll get it done. They love their. One thing I learned very quickly is how much you love your country, and you want to get it done. And they know it has to get done, otherwise bad things happen. But I think we're well beyond that. Other presidents should have done what I'm doing right now. They never did it. I don't think they ever tried. I don't think it's like they couldn't do it. I don't think they ever tried. And if they did, they wouldn't be able to do it anyway.
Mr. President, yes, thank you. Mr. President, can you share with us what can happen if one of the parts violate this peace agreement? Because we don't want war to come back to
Well,
DRC.
I'd rather not say. I would just say that there are big penalties if they violate, and they're not going to. I don't think they will violate. I think they mean it, but we have very severe penalties, financial and otherwise.
On the president, to go back to your Truth Social post on Canada specific.
So Canada put a charge on some of our companies, and Canada's been a very difficult country to deal with over the years. We hear Canada, we have a great relationship with the people of Canada, but it's been very difficult. And they put a charge, and they were a little bit early, we found out about it. So, and we have all the cards, we have every single one. We don't want to do anything bad, but they have, economically, we have such power over Canada. I'd rather not use it, but they did something with our tech companies today trying to copy Europe. They copied Europe. It's not going to work out well for Europe either, and it's not going to work out well for Canada. They were foolish to do it. So I said we're going to stop all negotiations with Canada right now until they straighten out their act. Okay?
Is there anything Canada can
They put a tax on companies that were American companies that they should have, very severe tax. And I guess they could remove it. They will, but I don't really, it doesn't matter to me. We have all the cards. We have all the cards. We do a lot of business with Canada, but relatively little. They do most of their businesses with us. And when you have that circumstance, you treat people better. They've had farmers that are getting like 300, 400, 200% in tariffs. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We have cases, you don't read this and the people don't report, but they charge us 400% on some dairy products. 400%. Nobody writes that. It's not fair to our farmers, and we've got to protect our farmers.
Sir, you just, sir.
Yeah, Brian, go ahead.
Mr. President, you mentioned how much of a rate cut we would do to. Earlier today,
Well, I don't have a comment. I'd love him to resign if he wanted to. He's done a lousy job. Look, if you were there, you'd say, well, you know, the United States is doing well. They have no inflation. And if they do get inflation in a year or two, we'll start raising the rates. We'll get rid of the inflation, you know, and do other things. Biden had the worst inflation in the history of our country. 19%, but I think it was much higher than that. Frankly, they say 19%. I say, I think it's a lot higher than that. And we have almost no inflation now. We've done a great job in a short period of time. Energy prices are way down. Gasoline now is down to close to $2 in a lot of places. A couple of places, I see it even broke. It's like $1.98 a gallon. We've done a great job on inflation and honestly, pretty much everything else. I think it's very sad the way people act. You know, you have a guy in there that with the stroke of a pen could lower interest rates and save us hundreds of billions of dollars a year. But he's a stupid person. You know, it's very interesting. I'm not sure if he doesn't understand it, because you should be able to understand it. It's sort of 101 economics, but I'm not sure of that. But think of it, with the stroke of a pen, he talks about costs. We can save $600 billion, maybe even, these are nice numbers for you, right? $900 billion, $950 billion by lowering interest rates. And it's really just more of a paper movement. It's not like you're not cutting anything, you're not cutting jobs, it's just interest rates. And we're number 40 or 44, number 45. Some places that you wouldn't believe that, you know, I don't want to be disparaging, but they pay a lower interest rate than the United States of America. And without us, everything blows up. You know, we sort of control the world in that sense. But we have a guy that's just a stubborn mule and a stupid person that is making a big mistake. He's making a mistake. And it lasts for years because when you do the debt. Now, I've instructed my people not to do any debt beyond 9 months or so. Get this guy out. And whoever is in there will lower rates. If I think somebody's going to keep the rates where they are or whatever, I'm not going to put them in. I'm going to put somebody that wants to cut rates. There are a lot of them out there. And I said this morning, a lot of the business shows today were saying, you know, Trump is right. He should be cutting rates. Think of it. We have a great country. We're making a lot of money. We're taking in billions of dollars in tariffs. We have $15 trillion of money that wants to be invested here, which is a record. In 2 months, it breaks any record that we've ever had for a whole year, and not even close. 15 trillion, and it's going to be much higher than that. That's after essentially 2 months, because, you know, we've been doing it for about 2 months, 2.5 months. $15 trillion breaks every record in the book. There's never been anything like this. We have factories moving in. We have car plants moving in. We have everyone wants to be part of the United States. And as I told you, and I say it to everybody, when I was in the Middle East, the King of Saudi Arabia and Qatar and UAE, all great leaders. They have all great leaders. All three of them said, you got the hottest country in the world, and you did it in, at that time I was there for 4 months, because we got back a little while ago. But everybody says it, not only them. We have the hottest country in the world right now. The only thing is we have a Fed chairman that is, he doesn't get it. And you could have substantially low. Like if we cut him 2 points, would save more than 600, think of it, more than $600 billion just because you cut. But you can't go out to the market and say, well, we have a guy that's got us at 4% or 4.5%, and we want to pay 2% or 1%. I think we should be paying 1% right now. And we're paying more because we have a guy who's, you know, suffers from, I think, Trump derangement syndrome, if you want to know the truth. But he's not good for our country.
The president of UK.
No,
Did you push
not
for the
you,
president
not you.
A related question on banking. Industries such as crypto involved in that. Would you be open or interested to sign such an executive order, banking, and what?
Well, I think the debankers, I think that banks, I can tell you because I've been a victim myself, because of my politics, that big banks were very nasty to us. And I actually think it was Biden's people that told them to be, because the one group of people that banks are of the regulators. They are petrified of the regulators. And I've seen the biggest banker. I can tell you, you see him on television all the time. If a regulator walked into the room, he gets all nervous and crazy. They're afraid of the regulators. And if the Biden people order the banks to be virtually closed, they can do anything they want. The regulators control the banks. It's not the president of the bank. The president of the bank is far less important to a bank than a regulator. And a regulator can put that bank out of business, just like bad prosecutors are very dangerous. You know, we had a couple. I had deranged Jack Smith and some others. And we kicked their ass. But it was, you know, it's a tough kind of a situation. Prosecutors are very dangerous. A great prosecutor is an amazing asset for a country. But a corrupt prosecutor, a bad prosecutor is very bad. Well, the regulators are the same thing. And when they tell the regulator to go and make life impossible for big banks or little banks, they really control it. So there is a lot of debanking. And they call it debanking, call it a lot of different names. Essentially, they make it impossible to do business. And those people are very bad and very dangerous, and they shouldn't be doing it.
Sir, you told us that on taxes, Mr. President, could you please explain how taxes would go up by 68% if the bill isn't passed? Where does that number come from?
Well, it comes from the fact that you have automatically the Trump cuts, which were the biggest cuts that we've ever had. Now, these cuts are even bigger. But from the last administration, we had the Trump cuts. It was a 5-year deal, and it comes due. When you add that to the cuts that you already have and other things, it amounts, according to what they tell me, about 68%. That would mean you'd have a tax, so that you know that the tax cuts that they got, the biggest tax cuts in our history, would immediately go up to that level. And that alone is a big chunk of the 68%. And then you have the other taxes that would accumulate. And they say that you'd have about a 68% tax increase.
Sir, you said a moment ago that that mean you want to cut off those negotiations as well and just tell them what?
No, well, they've been very tough. Europe, the European Union was formed in order to take advantage of the United States and trade. That's why they were formed. And they're nasty. They're very nasty. We have a good relationship. I'm dealing with Ursula right now and the group. But it's a very tough situation. They have been unbelievably bad to us. If you look at past precedents, they've treated them very badly. They're being very nice to me because I get it. I know the system, and we have the cards. We have the cards far more than they do. And they have not treated us well, and they're coming to us right now. You know, I said I was going to put on a 50% tariff. As soon as I said that, I put it out on Truth. As soon as I said that, they came to the table. They didn't want to come to the table. My people were telling me, Scott was telling me, and the whole group was telling me that not a good situation. They want to tap it down the line. They don't want to really deal. So I said, we're going to put a 50% tariff on you. And Howard, as you know, was very much involved, Lutnick, Commerce. And he said, they don't want to talk. As soon as I put that on, I was getting calls from them like, can we meet tomorrow? And the problem is they have a lot of very unfair taxes. They have a lot of taxes that you wouldn't put on. And they sue all our companies. They're constantly suing Apple and Google and all of these companies and getting, you know, in front of judges that essentially almost work for them. I guess they do work for them, the European Union judges. And they're getting these crazy rewards. Apple was fined $17 billion, and others are being fined tremendous numbers of dollars. They're nasty people. And I don't want them affecting U.S. companies. I don't want that. If anybody's going to affect a U.S. company, I want it to be us. And if they're going to have to pay a penalty or a fine, let it be to us. So they've done this for a long time, for years, but they're very nasty. The European Union is very nasty. There's no question. But they'll learn not to be so nasty very soon. They know that. They know it's coming.
Told us that Vladimir Putin reached out to you to help you with the Iran crisis.
He made some nice statements today. Did you see the statements? Very nice. Vladimir Putin made some very nice statements today. Look, he respects our country again. He didn't respect it a year ago, I can tell you right now. But Putin respects our country. And President Xi of China respects our country. Kim Jong-un they respect our country again. We were not a country that was respected just a year ago. We had a president that was incompetent. We had bad people circulating around this desk, this beautiful, resolute desk. They had, I guess, evil intentions. You couldn't be that stupid. I mean, they had evil intentions. But the world respects our country again. Thank you very much, everybody. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
अमरीकी सदर डोनाल्ड ट्रंप की जानिब से वाइट हाउस में प्रेस ब्रीफिंग की जा रही थी। उन्होंने कहा कि गजा में आइंदा हफ्ते सीज़ फायर का इम्कान है। ईरान की एटमी तनसीबात पर दोबारा हमले से बिल्कुल गुरेज नहीं करूंगा। ईरान में अब कोई जौहरी प्रोग्राम नहीं है। अमरीकी सदर का कनाडा से तजारती मुज़ाकरात ख़त्म करने का ऐलान। अमरीकी सदर ने ईरान और इसराइल में भी अमन कायम किया।
ये भी छोड़ के चली गई। चल,
ये कहाँ आ गए यार? टिप करना था ना तुझे, तू टिप कर ले। मेरा गला सूख रहा है। चुप कर। वो देख,
ये ऊँट ने गर्म कपड़े क्यों पहने हैं?
लाई, कुछ पीने को है?
ये लो जी।
ये क्या मजाक है?
बस 1 मिनट की बात है।